What's up everyone, welcome back to another video by Clip on my YouTube channel, and this week I'm gonna go through some of the questions and I'm gonna reply on them, and I will find those questions in the comments from various of my videos. So, as I'm pretty deep into recording the new course and I needed to start another series, as I wanted to do this for a long time, as there was a lot of comments in a form of questions which I wasn't able to reply in a certain moment, so I think it would be fair if I address to some of those interesting questions. So I choose just a few for this moment, as I'm pretty tired of recording, as I'm recording every day the new course, which is going amazingly, but the course, the whole form with a lot of graphics and extremely specific information, everything is written, so it's really drying my taking a lot of energy from me. So I want to keep those YouTube videos as well running, so I chose this kind of a form for this video. So let's go to the first question, and this is: I made this exactly and it sounds different. You didn't show the effects on the sound. So this comment was from the amazing bassline with the Vital, and in that video I guess that this person only saw the second part, and there is the first part of this video where I explain the whole synthesis, and in the second is only the processing with the inserts. So I guess that you only saw the one video, so you can type in the amazing bassline with Vital by Eclipse and you will find the two videos, so you can see the first one and the second one as well. But I'm gonna address to this first part of the comment: I made this exactly and it sounds different. You cannot expect that it's gonna sound the same only if you have exactly the same equipment as I do, as otherwise every piece of the gear that you're gonna use is gonna give you different results. So the different converters are gonna differently convert what you are hearing. So what you are experiencing it can be just different because of the different equipment. So all the things that I have from my right side are not here just for fancy LEDs, and they do some type of the work. I didn't pay more than 5,000 euros for this equipment just to be sitting here, so there is the reason why some of those parts of the hardware are costing that much. So the equipment will help and boost the quality of all the sounds. So if you are using some cheaper sound card, you cannot expect, even if you do exactly the same, you cannot expect that you will have the same results. It's easy like that. Alright, so the next question is actually two questions. Just perfect, but can I ask you two questions? You would like to have all the inserts plugins in one rack. Couldn't the problem be solved with the Blue Cat Patchwork VST? Yes, you're right, but only the whole working environment behind this is a bit complicated. As when I said I would like to have several plugins in a one chain or a one rack, is because there are some types of the plugins which will require some other plugins. So let's say you're gonna use some good compressor that does not have the output gain, where you cannot like do to equalize to be on the same before and after, or maybe you want to have several plugins and that you can bypass them in a one button. Let's say if you're using the dynamic plugins in a way of a compression, then limiter and maybe some envelope shaper, and in some moment you want to bypass to see are those results are good enough. So this is called A/B testing. So because of the reasons of A/B testing, it will be nice. Can I use the Blue Cat Patchwork? Yes, I do. But in a Blue Cat you need to load the DLL files. So by pressing the insert, you won't have the list where you can just type in the name of the plugin and you can insert it. And all of that is kind of a replacement for something that already exists in Ableton, let's say. So in Ableton you can have several FX plugins, and then you can just group them, and then you can turn on and off button. Just by one click you can drag and drop and save them. So something like this is something that I miss the most in a Cubase. The second question from the same person was: would it be possible to replace the M Spectral Dynamic with a limiter? In my opinion, no, because they are working on a different way. So the limiter will measure the signal and it's gonna limit the whole signal. How it's gonna do that, it's gonna depend from the limiter itself. But spectrodynamics will look for the peaks, or will look for the peaks or the resonances into the frequency spectrum, and then it's gonna compress only the parts that are gonna go above the threshold level that you're gonna set. So it's more kind of automated EQ, something like this. So you can set the level, let's say -20, and in any frequency, if the signal goes above -20, it will compress it. And also in spectrodynamics, you can actually write how the curve or the threshold is gonna act in the whole frequency spectrum. So you can set a different threshold level on the area from 1K till 800 Hertz, and different level on the low end and different level on the highs. So it's really customizable, and it's one of the best plugins. The best new way of a plugins, as I didn't saw something evolutionary that happened. Everything was the same, like just the delays become a better delays, more options. The limiters started to be true peak and with the better options, etc, etc. But nothing major have happened in that field beside the M spectral dynamics and this type of the plugins. There are of course now the other ones as well, but in my opinion the M spectral dynamics is the best one for that. Cool. Do you have the sub? Yes, I did have a sub, and I was using the sub first with the Focal Solo B6 in this studio with the same chain over here, and the first expression was really good because from this Focal Solo B6, which are 6-inch drivers, the sound just became like super big, and I finally was able to hear some of the lowest frequencies. But I wasn't happy with the results that I was getting, as after using it for some amount of time I realized that the results I'm getting are not that good. Actually, that also that my working process is not the fast enough, that I still was looking and spending a lot of time getting some decent results. So on the end, because I couldn't compare with the equipment or the speakers that I have now, I was kind of happy, and then I bought the Focal SM9, and I kept the sub in that moment as well. So I just connected them, the SM9 to the sub as well, and I installed this foot switch where I could press the foot switch and bypass the woofer. And also, like when you hear the power of the woofer, it's a bit addicted as the sound becomes so big. But for the precise studio work like I like to do, honestly it's not a good thing, because the attention or the focus is always in the low end, and I had a feeling that there's always a lot of work to do down there, and it was draining a lot of my energy and power. So it got broken, so I took it to for a repair, and then I left only with Focal's SM9. And after I spent like week or two, I realized that I'm having much better and faster results without the woofer. So in my opinion, for me, in my case, the subwoofer wasn't good enough. So I like more to have only those two instead of having the subwoofer as well. All right, so this one does in phase of waves do the same thing like PAJ 979 from your video. No, it doesn't, as the in phase from waves is a plugin that's gonna align the phases of two channels. So you need to insert one in phase in one channel and in another one, then you analyze both of them. So when you press that one of them are aligned to the next one, what it's gonna do, it's actually gonna move in a way of a time, like making a delay. So it's gonna find how it could move the second channel in order to align it better with the first one. So when it comes for aligning the phase, it does the good job. But this is maybe for some other types of the music, for let's say bassline and the kicks that do not have this strong transient as a Psytrance kick, as then this sharp transient is need to be really close to the grid. So moving it left and right for more than 3, 4, 5 milliseconds is gonna change the groove. So, and in phase is usually changing it more than those like 3, 4, 5 milliseconds. So if you move the bass line in front for like 10 milliseconds, you're gonna change the groove. If that's what you want to do, then it's okay. But in some moments, I just want to fix the phase and I don't want to change the groove. So it's, for me, it's not an option. And also, if you move it like backwards, if you move the bassline notes a little bit before the grid, it's not gonna sound good enough. It's definitely, I tried it so many times and it just doesn't work in my case. So because of this sharp transient that we have mostly, if you use, let's say, the bass lines without that sharp transient, let's say some really deep muddy one, you can try in phase as well. But because it won't give me always good options, this is why I'm not considering it as a best possible option. And PJ979, I don't need to move it, I just can change and modify the phase in order that it's aligned with the other channel, and this is why I like this one the most. And there's no reason for me to change or use any other, because this one is just solving the problem. Okay, so super good video as always. Could you maybe make a video covering low frequency bass notes such as C sharp and how to make them sound clean? There is not a lot of videos on YouTube that covers this topic. Almost everyone makes the bassline tutorials on F and G sharp. Of course, yeah, but this is a problematic topic because I'm just now finishing the whole science behind the kick and the bass. So in order that we are all able to make the bassline in any keynote, there are a lot of things that needs to be understood before. What's happening with the kick, what's happening with the bass line. Because like the lower ones, as you mentioned, C sharp and D, the first harmonic is already in a cut zone. So some of the producers will, let's say, put the low cut around 40 Hertz. So that means that in a C sharp, the first harmonic is going to be already cutted out. So there's just too many of these things, and this kind of a question or this topic is for the course, because last 2 or 3 weeks I'm recording only about the kick and bass science, and I recorded just about 1 hour, but like 1 hour of extremely super intense, like everything that's happening with the kick and the bass that I could remember of. So I was recording and making with all the visuals, with explanation of what is the phase, how it functions, etc, what are the ways how we can align the kick and the bass, why are those some of techniques are good, why not. So there's an infinite amount of time that I could talk about the kick and bass only. So that's why I tried to do several times to refer, but then I realized that not saying everything just causes more questions and more questions and more questions. And also all of these things are not something that you can just learn. You need to learn and feel in the same time. So when those two are matching together, then it's gonna be solved, like checked, and then you will be able to recreate it. As just having one bass line that works with one kick and then just changing the kick and it doesn't work, it's gonna make you that you're gonna stay using for that key note the same kick and the same bass line, etc. There's a plenty of things, and I know that it sounds like a marketing or that I'm promoting the course. Psychedelic Tips had such a great response, and it is an amazing course. Even when I see it now, I'm like, wow, I was so lucky that I recorded that. But the next one is just gonna be, I'm gonna use the Psychedelic Tips Vol 2 as bass, and then I'm just gonna extend, as this is something that I wanna do, is that I want to try to explain as most things as possible, but like upgrading. And I will never record a new course just because I decided so. I will gonna make it only when I discover things that I didn't said good enough, or 10 hours is just not enough to say all of these things. There were so many unsaid things in Psychedelic Tips, so many things said, because I wrote the whole track and you were able to see. So this is from that practical use. It's an amazing thing. You can see how to make a kick, how to make a bass line, how to sort the hi-hats, how to build single shot sounds, but I couldn't put enough material for, let's say, for a single shot sounds, as it will take so much time. So this was the idea, that I start to explain much more about the sound design, the techniques, how you can use it, and how to create the interesting and amazing sounds. And then I realized that we all start the track with the kick and the bass, so I decided to explain a little bit more about the kick and the bass. And on the end, I just took 3 weeks to record like the complete thing about the kick and bass. And I think that I will maybe even write down like PDF book, because all the things that I said there is just really interesting and kind of a scientific approach. Okay, so where is the preset? I love your tutorials, but you don't show the whole process of making the bassline in Vital, only a few settings. So okay, the boy Cortman is the same example, just this guy, I think he saw only the first video where I just showed the synthesis, and the preset was in the second video. So amazing bassline with Vital, the second video, there was the preset. And this person must probably didn't pay attention of what I was saying, because in that video I explicitly said that there's gonna be a second part of the video, and that in the second part is gonna be the preset. So I guess that this is, I'm sorry to maybe be a bit hard, but we all know that there are the preset producers today, and this is the group of producers that are not my crowd, as what I'm trying to do is to offer the knowledge and to attract the people who would like to learn how to do things. And if you just want a preset, then I really advise you to go on some other places. There are some channels and other content where you can find the presets and just, you know, use the presets and make the music. What I'm trying to do here is to be different in that way, so I don't just show how to use this preset bank and how to make this short small riff. I try to give you the more valuable knowledge, something behind my experience, something that not many people can do, as I don't see many people as on my level of knowledge that are running the YouTube channels. I know it sounds a bit rough, but from the Psytrance world I just don't see too much of them, and that's the case. And that would be all. I really hope that this video gave some of the answers to your questions, and as I already said, this was the only thing that I could do for this week, because I'm a bit tired for recording and editing and whatsoever every day here in the studio. So thank you very much for watching, and see you soon with another video. Bye, ciao.